What's happening, y'all? Dave Jones, how y'all doing, man? It's been a while since I've been up on this joint going live. I actually just went live and then I had to stop it real quick because I was like, man, what's going on? Anyway, is the inventory up? Is this a buyer's or seller's market? Tacoma being a top 50 market in the nation. These are all things that we'll talk about. Also, we'll have Jeff Tucker. I got a video from Jeff Tucker on the way as well. But first, before that, hit the subscribe button. Tap in with us, man. Man, shout out to Inman. So just recently, just this week, it's been crazy. Summer's crazy spring. We've just been so busy here at the office at Abode. So thank y'all for first of all tapping in and even just taking the time. So if you're tapped in on YouTube or the Spotify or whatever, just recently we were not named, but we were named as a nominee for Innovator of the Year for Inman News, and that's super dope. We have been named Innovator of the Year for a vlog inside Abode. That was man, that was a few years ago, and we've had a relationship with him in this whole time. So man, I'm just it's crazy because I sit here and do this and try to, I got new lighting and just try to make things dope and make sure that we have our agents on here, but just wanted to make a platform just so that we could talk real estate and just get our knowledge out here because we have so much knowledge in this office from our agents and all that kind of stuff. And I just want to make sure that we get it out there because honestly, I'm gonna be real, like we as realtors and in the real estate industry, the content that we share with our folks out in the world, I want to make sure that we're sharing like good content on the market too, because I don't want to share all I want the fluff is good and we make really good content in our industry. But I've noticed recently, like there's a lot of questions and stuff like that. And so it's just like, we want to make sure that those questions are being answered before we even sit in front of our clients. So free game is always good game to me. So the game is to be not sold. The game is to be told, not sold is how I like to say it. It's backwards. It's honestly the other way around for me. So anyway, I'm really super honored. I'm just honored that Inman sees us and that we're doing our thing. So man, shout out to Inman News. That's really dope. So I want to get into what we're talking about, today, which I want to make it real quick. It's not going to be a really long one, but I want to talk about the market. Like if you're anything like us or what I'm seeing in this market, or at least in our office, is people are fried. Like these markets are hard. Heidi Hurst, who we'll have on in a couple weeks, she said like it's a have to market, not a want to market. And I think that's completely on point because like people that are selling right now typically have to, not because they necessarily want to. The rates are high. Some people are selling because they want to, but people are moving or whatever. There's typically a life event behind someone making this move right now with the rates at this level. So hopefully we'll get some relief in the future, but we're going to talk about that. So stay tuned on that. Let's see. Let's get to first. I'm gonna cue this conversation up with a video from Windermere principal economist Jeff Tucker, and we're just gonna watch that real quick, and then we'll just get into like what else we have in addition to that in our local market and some of the things that I'm looking at. I'm just gonna go through that in live form, like what I'll be looking at. So I pulled up some stuff that I typically look at, and we'll go through that. So let's take a look at Jeff Tucker.
I'm Jeff Tucker, Principal Economist at Windermere Real Estate, and this is a local look at the June 2025 Northwest MLS market stats. All right, so last month I highlighted the year-over-year decline in closed sales in May as fallout from the stock market dip and economic turmoil from April ran through the housing market. Now, I'm happy to share that, like the stock market, the housing market has rebounded after that speed bump in May. Closed residential sales across the whole Northwest MLS in June were almost exactly the same as their year-ago level. And pending sales of single-family homes climbed 3% year-over-year. Now, on the supply side, about 12% more new listings hit the market this June than last, and the tally of active listings ended the month 37% higher than June 2024's inventory. That is a lot more inventory, but the pace of year-over-year growth is slightly slower than the 39% we saw last month. Finally, the median price for closed single-family home sales actually climbed 3% from last year to $695,000 now. That reverses the 1% decline in May and actually sets a new high watermark for the year, above the $680,000 sale price in April. So, putting it all together, buyers around Washington came back to the table in June after kind of stepping away in May. And that helped to drive more sales and higher prices. Now, looking ahead, the high level of inventory we've got on the market at the midpoint of the year suggests that buyers are going to gain more negotiating power as the summer goes on. Now, we'll dig into some details for the four counties encompassing the greater Seattle area. Here, residential closed sales dipped by just 0.5% from the same month last year. That's actually thanks to a 3% gain in King County, which mostly offset some small declines in the other counties. Now, that gain for King County was especially notable after it had posted a whopping 14% year over year decline in May. So that really suggests some of those buyers got back into the market after pressing pause earlier this spring. So similarly, King County saw the biggest gain in median sale price, climbing 7% from a year ago, and it's now back over $1 million here. Kitsap and Pierce saw their prices climb 4% and 5%, while prices dipped 2% in Snohomish County. Now, looking ahead, pending sales returned to some modest year-over-year increases, totaling 3% across the region, led by 11% more in Pierce County and 4% more in King County, offset somewhat by declines of 4% in Kitsap and 5% in Snohomish County. Finally, on the supply side, the four-county greater Seattle area had almost 9,000 active listings at the end of June, or 40% more than the same time last year. Still, if that sounds dramatic, it is a smaller percentage gain than the 45% year-on-year growth in May, suggesting that this inventory buildup is decelerating. So all in all, this report confirmed that greater Seattle region buyers came back to the table in June. Not in huge numbers, but more like a return to the new normal of sales activity after many buyers had pressed pause in April. Now, the usual seasonal cooldown in demand is likely to begin just as summer heats up. That will help swing the pendulum in favor of the buyers who keep house hunting into the second half of the year. And I expect that higher inventory will also start to put some competitive pressure on sellers who haven't yet gotten an offer. All right, that is all I've got for this local look at the June 2025 data. Thank you for watching.
All right. So that was Jeff Tucker, Windermere principal economist on the actual market based on June. So what I want to look at is go into what we have for this particular month in July leading up to right now. So the first thing I want to do is let's look at the inventory. Let me bring this up real quick. This is what I like to look at. Y'all know what I like to look at. You've been here. If you've been watching this show, you know exactly what I'm about to pull up. I'm about to pull up the trend graphics report. So this is for single family homes, Pierce County, basically, and you can see the range is from last April, so April 2024 to June 2025. But what I want to look at is what it is today. As of today, this is July 18th, and I want to look at that. So, but before that, like, let's look at the trend and the pattern. So last year we peaked in December with our inventory at 2.5. 2.4 we had in September. October's there. And in August, we typically gets a little sleepy in August, and we have some inventory there as well. So, and I think we were at 2.2. So, like, where are we at right now? Well, we're at 2.3, and I think, like, one of my big concerns right now with inventory is that we're not higher actually. I know it feels like things are slow, and they are, and it is a buyer's market, but like, numbers wise, in terms of inventory, we actually still don't have that 3 month to 4 month to inventory buildup. So we I just feel like when the rates come down, I just think that we're going to be in a competitive situation again, because we do have so much money sitting on the sidelines, and so many people sitting on the sidelines just ready to kind of pounce on some of these things. But let's take a look at like what it is today. So if I scroll down here, I'm going to go to current month versus the previous month to date. Current month to date versus previous month to date. So as of today, the 17th, or today's 18th, but this is 17th, yesterday, we're at 2.2 based on pended sales. And I'm going to pull this data table up down here. So, and that's 2.2 is lower than last month at 2.3, it said. But now we have 2.2, which is a change month to date, though. So like this is as of this, so from the 1st to the 17th. That's where we're at 2.2. So at the same time last month, we were at 2.1. So apparently it went up a little bit. Let's see, last year. So last year we were at a 2.1 month to date. So like as of from 1 to 17. So like we're not too far off from last year. We've kind of been in this range for a while now. But if you look at year to date, which is interesting. So the January 1st to July 17th, we're at 2.6 year to date. So that's interesting to me. It fluctuates, but like here's the thing, man. Like I'm concerned about when the rates do eventually come down, those who are sitting on the sidelines that could possibly have a chance right now because things are moving a little bit slower. And we'll take a look at a couple different things. I'm concerned that when that happens, it's just going to be, I don't want to say it's chaos, but I just think that there's going to be more competition as the rates come down, which is a natural state of anything. Well, what about the rates? So let's take a look at the rates. Well, this is the mortgage rates right here. We'll look at the mortgage rates over a certain amount of time. So you can see here, this is from 1970s all the way. So man, I mean, you thought the rates are high now. Like, I mean, they're at 18.28 in October 2nd of 1981. Sheesh, that's crazy. So anyway, if we're going back, moving forward to here, this is from, I'm looking at the St. Louis. This is a site that typically a lot of folks like to go to, Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis website. Oh, we got an open message here. Let's see. Rates dropping will be interesting. I agree. It will be interesting. What's up, Will? Appreciate you tapping in. Yeah, I agree. Appreciate you tapping in, Will. That's dope. So anyway, yeah, when you look at these rates, they're pretty much been in like this consolidation pattern right here since what, 2022, November. I always point to like November 2022 as like that's when, at least for me as a business owner in this market, I was like, we're at 7% and we could be going higher, and it was like, what's going to happen? But luckily we stayed in that range. And look at this. We went up to 7.76 November 2nd, 2023. My goodness, as an average. So, and then we've been consolidating in this upper 6 level to about 7. So, what does that look like when we look at the CME? So CME is going to be meeting on July 30th of this month, and a lot of people are hoping for a rate cut at that time. And based on what the market's saying, there's a 95.3% chance the market thinks that we are not going to be getting a rate cut, which I believe that's going to happen. Now, where the argument is basically people saying like, if you wait, so they don't meet again until, and you can look at this chart here, 17 or this site, they won't meet until September 17th. The FOMC won't. So not that this, now, does this mean that this is what's going to happen to mortgage rates? No, this is the Fed rate, which is not the mortgage rate, but still mortgage rates tend to, like fluctuate around what the Fed rate's doing. Typically, sometimes they even front run it actually. They might drop beforehand. But anyway, so, just the FOMC doesn't meet until the 17th. And if we look at the 17th meeting, the market's saying we could potentially get a quarter rate cut at that point in time. Who knows? You might see in September mortgage rates come down just a little bit before this meeting if this confidence continues to go up. So I personally believe the sentiment in the market is going to be positive in Q4. I think there's going to be, I just think that it's going to be a better sentiment in terms of the market. But August might be an opportunity for potential buyers. If you want a chance at something, this might be the time. And in this like nice little stretch here between now and August. Let's see. I have something else to share with you. Oh, pending data reports. Let's take a look. Let's drill down to like oh no, before I do that, I want to show you this. I'm going to share this tab about Tacoma. Tacoma being a top top 50 metro market in the nation. Let's take a look at this. So this is from the U.S. Federal Housing website, and you can take a look here. These are the top metros in terms of the year over year percentage increase in terms of prices. So you can see here, looking here, we go down, boom, you got Cleveland, all these things, but you'll see of all the Washington markets, Tacoma, Lakewood here is at number 39 out of the top 100 metros. So you can see there, year over year change, 4.8. Let me move my window here, 4.8%. And that's pretty good. Like obviously, we love our city and we love our Tacoma, and we have a really good market here. Actually, it's been really solid. We've been really fortunate here. Let's take a look at who else we have in Washington. Just took me out of there. Let's see. So we scroll down here, Tacoma. Let's see who else is next. We'll go over here. I believe I saw. Oh, there's Everett. Everett coming in at 68, 3%, 3% year over year increase. Seattle, Bellevue, Kent came in at 75 based on this one. I mean, you might read an article that says something else, but this is just off of the federal housing. So I like to go off of this one. But yeah, so we have Seattle, Bellevue, Kent at 75. We have Everett at 68. And then we have Tacoma and Lakewood at 39. That's pretty dope. So anyway, like we've been at the top of that at some points in time. I've seen us do, kind of crazy things in terms of our market. We've been number one at points in time. But let's drill down to the actual Pierce County, and let's look at the pending data reports. So pending data reports, I like looking at this one because it just tells me exactly what's happening today in terms of, like how many multiple offers are on certain, properties that are pending and what percentage of blah, blah, blah. And we've done this before. You've seen this before. So I'm just going to go ahead and get into it. Today, the median unpublished pending price is $599,000 in Pierce County. For the date range, I used July 1st through the 18th on this one, and $582,000 I have on that for anything that went under contract from July 1 to July 17th, basically. But as of today, which is what the green bar is $599,000. So let's take a look at pendings with multiple offers. So again, in that date range, anything that went pending in July 1 through July 17th, 23%, had multiple offers of those contracts, of those houses that went under contract. Or, you can look at just today, just as of today, everything that's pending, 21% of the homes that are pending under contract right now, have multiple offers. So something to think about, something to consider if you're a seller right now, something to consider you're like wishing for multiple offers. Well, there's only 21% of them right now on the market that have that. So, we're still seeing that in certain areas, and the, move-in ready houses. And if you listen to some of our older podcasts, you'll hear our agents talking about that. But some homes are going to sit for a little bit longer. Pendings with escalation addendum. So any escalations, only 5%. So that hasn't changed from, homes that are July 1 through July 17th that went under contract versus just as of right now. That hasn't changed, nothing there. Pendings with a finance addendum, 82%. That's been flat right there. Pendings with an inspection addendum. This one's interesting because there's there's an 8% gap. So over that course of time, 73%, but as of today, 65% of the homes that are pending right now, as of right now, have an inspection addendum. So there are some without inspection addendum. So let's go to, we did talk about the inventory with Jeff Tucker on that video, but I do want to look at the condo market. I don't want to leave y'all condo folks out there because there is some opportunities in the condo market if you take a look. So let's take a look at the condo market. I'm going to just choose Pierce County for this. Oh, there we go. It says multiple counties. I don't want to do all. Let's do Pierce. Let's do that. All right. It's going to pop up. All right, Pierce County, not residential and condo. I just want to do condo. Why does it keep going to all counties? I just want to do Pierce. All right, here we go. Take that one off. Just Pierce. Okay. All right, we're good. Pierce County. So if you take a look at the active listings for condos, those are up as well. So you might want to, if you're in the condo market, you might want to take a look at those. Now you do have to consider like HOA dues or resale certs and special assessments and all that other kind of stuff. So when you're looking at a condo, there's definitely some things. Talk to an agent because every condo association is ran differently. So that's just some stuff there. I think I have one more. So let me see. I got a chat right here. Let me see who's talking here. Let's see what it says. I think the Fed has promised a cut or two no matter what. Yeah. They this is Learn Real Estate Photography. Thank you as well. But yeah, I agree. I think the Fed has promised a cut or two no matter what in 2025. I do think we're going to get a cut. I do think, well, you know me, I'm in the digital asset market. We'll be talking about that on Brick by Brick actually next because I do two podcasts today. So our sister podcast, Brick by Brick, we'll be streaming too as well here pretty soon. We'll be talking about the digital asset market, and actually today is a big day. This is a big week in the digital asset market. We'll be getting those cuts. There's three crypto bills. I believe the Genius Act, which is a stable coin act, has passed. I think he just signed that today, maybe an hour ago. I have to go look at that after I get off of this. We have, I think, a clarity regulation bill, and then there's I forget what the third one's called, but this is called Crypto Week. So go tune in over there if you want to know, because right now I'm really focused on this, but took photos. Yeah. I know you're looking at yep, you already know I'm on them altcoins, right? Yeah, I'm on them altcoins. Come over to Brick by Brick. We'll talk about that. So yeah, anyway, I think, Tacoma as the 39th ranked market is pretty dope. That's pretty dope. That's crazy. I think that we've been really holding up well in our market. We've been really, 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 really fortunate to be in Tacoma and Pierce County because I do think this is still a good market. It's not a bad market, but it's not perfect either, but it's good. Now, here's the last one I want to look at, and this one's a gem. So let's talk about stats here. So what is selling and how long is it taking for things to sell? So here I have what I like to call the appraise report. This is one of my favorites, sell to sold. So in the last 30 days, so I take the last 30 days of homes that have sold in Pierce County, and this breaks down like, all right, when did they sell? Did they sell within the first 30 days? Did they sell within the next 60, the next 30 days or the next 30 days after that? And so 71.79% of homes have sold in the last 30 days, sold within 30 days. So that's pretty high, and I just think that, like that's still pretty good for being at 7% rates. And upper six rates. And then 15.8% sold in the 31 through 60 days. So if your home has been sitting for, 30 days, do not panic. Actually, we just had a home sale that went on in November and it just closed. And the seller was really patient. They did a lot of work. Our agent, Maya, did a great job, just keeping it fresh and keeping it going, holding it open and just sticking with it. And they finally sold, and granted it's a higher price point, but still, I think that there are people out there that are looking for these homes, and don't panic unless you have obviously some external pressures that are that are forcing you to sell. Marketplace is the marketplace and you got to listen to it. Despite what we might think, it might not be what everyone else is thinking. So I know that's hard too, though. I can say that, but for me in that position, I'd feel the same way. But that's just the reality. 61 to 90 days, 4.45%. Now, this says here the median sales price to percentage of list price, 100%. I don't there's a lot of concessions that are happening right now. Sellers are conceding certain things in negotiation, whether it be price, whether it be in the inspection. But do prepare as a seller right now to be negotiating. I don't believe this 100% number is all the way necessarily correct. I'd love to see what the concessions look like, but I don't have that data point here right in front of me right now. So anyway, that's a little bit. That's all I got. And like, thanks Will for tapping in. But we're gonna have some more information next week. We'll be talking to Spencer next week, and then we'll be talking to Heidi next week, the week after that, and luxury. So we got some really dope episodes for y'all coming up. But anyway, hit the subscribe button, tap in with us, say, like on on YouTube. Do all those things. And again, shout out to MN News for keeping us top of mind. One of the innovative podcasts. Actually, we live, so I like to go live on YouTube. If I mess up, great. I mess up. If I say something wrong, oh well, whatever. But I just want y'all to make sure that you're hearing us and we are able to give you some information that hopefully helps you. So if this doesn't help you, or if you have something else you want me to talk about, let me know. I'm here. Just hit the email, davidjones@windermere.com, or give me a call, give me a text, whatever. My number's out there. You can go to the page and see that. I'm not going to put it on here right now. Because there's a lot of crazy people out there. There's some crazy stuff going on, stalkers and all kinds of other stuff happening. Not to scare you, because you're gonna be all right. But damn, man, people need to take a break or chill or go to vacation, something. Anyway, with that, I'll see y'all next week. All right, peace.